What's going on, G-Ballers? I have two brand new knives here to share with you coming in from Ketuo. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Drop your EDC down in the comments. Let me know all the gear you're carrying today. We have a couple of new mini Griffins on our hands. They've released at least 4 different versions. Now I think there's a total of 5. And in this recent drop, you always get a nice amount of goodies with your Ketuo knife. I believe they have 5 total versions. This one here has the belt satin with the pink hardware and pink carbon fiber. We're going to have a raw titanium handle. They also did a couple of versions that are going to be sporting a DLC finish. So this one here is the blue titanium handle with the DLC finish here. And then this has a blue carbon fiber for the insert. So a couple of different versions. You can get either version with either finish. These are still going to be around the $200 price point. I think the DLC is like $210 or $215. And then I think the hand satin is going to be right around $195. It's not a shabby price for the materials and the finish you're going to be getting here. We do have our standard 4 deployment methods with the cutouts and front and rear flipper. Plus, you have the button as well. What makes these really cool is these are button liner locks. So we're not dealing with a standard plunge lock here. Not only do you get a real detent in there opposed to something like a plunge lock, but you're going to get a better lockup in my opinion. The button liner locks have proven to be a very stable and solid outfit. This is going to also have all titanium accents with the backspacer, pocket clip, and all the hardware. You're also going to have a left-hand option here for clip mounting. You also get a filler tab, which looks really good, made out of titanium. That looks like a little button there, but it is not. We do have our unique hardware on this guy, and I remember looking, but I don't know if this backspacer pops out of this knife or not. They do have knives where the backspacer will pop right out. Now, I don't know if this one does that, but I believe, looking here, that is going to be the tool that you can use to disassemble this. But if you can't take the backspacer out beforehand, it really doesn't do you any good, does it? That is something I will have to look into, because I know some of them, I found them after the videos, how it works. But in this case, I don't know if this pops out now. I have taken the one Griffin apart and I just used a small flathead. It worked like a charm. So not 100% sure. I never got any further. One thing that's going to be different from the full-size Griffin to the mini Griffins is you can actually access the liner on the full-size Griffins. So we have one of the G10 variants here. I've been carrying this an absolute ton. You can see here where you can actually access the liner, which is something I really like because it gives you more options that way. It's something I prefer. You can basically never get bored of a knife like this because you have multiple deployments and you have multiple ways to disengage it. And not only that, it is a badass knife all around. But there are people out there who prefer a smaller knife than something like the Griffin because it is not a small knife by any stretch of the imagination. They also make the full-size Griffin in a more premium form as well. So there's no shortage of Griffins out there. And I believe they've also done a G10 variant of the mini Griffin. So you can really pick your poison with the Griffin series. This is the original V2 right here. And you can see a very clean looking knife, a little bit different finish on the blade and some different carbon fiber. But I think from some finishing work and maybe just some material changes, there's not going to be any difference between the original V2. And I don't know if they're considering these V3s or just an addition to the V2s. I haven't gotten that far with it yet, but we do have a nice selection. And this is One of my favorite knives for many reasons from Ketuo, because it's a good price, even the premium versions. But now they also have these versions that are, I forget what these G10 ones come in at. I'll have everything linked down below in the description. But they're affordable. They're reasonable for exactly what you're getting here. And it is a really well done knife and design. It's comfortable. This thing is slicey as all hell and will do anything that you need it to do. This thing is built like an absolute tank. If anyone has a Griffin G10, they will tell you that exact same thing. It is built like an absolute brick house. And out of all these, that is my favorite one right there, even with the premium one sitting right there. For those of you who don't know, we'll get a measurement here on the Mini Griffin. 2.5 inches of cutting edge, 3 inches of blade, and 7 inches of total length. Now, if we step up to the full-size Griffin, you're going to see 3 1/8 of cutting edge, 3 5/8 of total blade, and this is going to come down there. We'll call that 8 5/8 overall strong. Bring out a couple of comparison knives here to put it in better perspective for you. We have the Kaiser Drop Bear and the Benchmade Bug Out. Something like the Mini Griffin is directly in line with the Drop Bear. And two more, we have the Vosteed Raccoon up top and the Kaiser Militol there on the bottom. And the full-size Griffin is even a little bit bigger than something like the Militol. The Mini Griffin, it's going to be a little bit smaller on both ends than the Raccoon. As far as milled titanium pocket clips go, the Griffin has one of the best in my opinion. It carries pretty deep for a milled clip. You'll have a little bit poking out, which many of you know, that is what I prefer right there in most occasions. I want to be able to get to my knife easily and that sort of thing. And this allows you to do that. And not only that, it's going to look very clean in the pocket. Good retention on the way out. And we'll take a look under here to see what kind of height we have. And you'll see you're going to have good clearance in there. So this will fit over most pant seams, I would say. And the best of all, it is going to be left-hand friendly. I'll get the arch nemesis out here and we'll give these some weight checks here. Now, these are all going to be different based on the material. We're going to go with this one right here and guess the weight for this Mini Griffin. We have done it in the past, but I do not remember in the slightest. I'm going to give it a go, but I invite you to play along. Put your guess down in the comments. Let me know what you think this knife weighs in at. All fun and games until somebody really gets hurt. I'm going to give it a go here, though. I'm going to say... So it's well under 4, well under 3.5. I am going to say, well, maybe not well under 3.5. That might be where it is, actually. I'm going to say 3.5, 3.6. Oh, damn. Ooh. Oh, 96 grams. Let's see what we have here for the full-size titanium variant. 4.9. And then we have the G10 with steel. 5.3. And like I said earlier in the video, this knife just provides a very nice feel in the hand. It's got a good heft to it, a good weight, a beautiful size. Now, some people are not allowed to legally carry something this size. That is where the Mini Griffin really comes in. If you are a law-abiding citizen and you want to go that route, the Mini Griffin is going to be here for you because it is going to be under 3 inches of cutting edge for sure, and it's going to be just shy of, I think it comes in at 2.99 inches of total blade. So legally, if you can have 3 inch and under, the Mini Griffin should be in your wheelhouse. So that is something to be said for the mini Griffin. Although I don't prefer the mini, I'm glad that it does exist. We'll get the calipers out here and we'll get a couple of measurements on the mini Griffin. 0.43 for our handle thickness. We'll 10.9 millimeters. We'll go to blade stock, 2.9 millimeters and 117 thousandths. We'll go to behind the edge thickness. That's going to come in right around 23 thousandths behind the edge. Let's see how this mini Griffin cuts out of the box. We're actually going to be checking both of these. One thing can be said about this knife. It is extremely pokey and it is extremely slicey. Beautiful edges coming out of Reich and Ketuo. In the last 6 months, I would have to say that Ketuo and Reich have had the sharpest factory edges come in. SRM and Reich and Ketuo are coming in with the hottest edges. I mean, just laser beam edges out of the box, which is very, very impressive, very nice to see. That was so fun. We're going to just do it again here. Like, it don't matter. It's just, look at that. Beautiful edges. Right out of the box. Right out of the box. Beautiful. Even when you're screwing up, or even when I am screwing up, look at that. It still just wants to cut, baby. Cut, cut, cut. Run the mini Griffin here through a couple of checks. And that's the nice thing about getting two. We can really check quality control out. And, you know, we get double the examples. So that is awesome. Perfectly centered up on both sides. And I would say as far as detents go, these are absolute spot on. And that's one thing that can be said across all the Griffins that I've handled. It is very, very hard to incorporate a second deployment option like a stud or hole and a flipper, rear flipper, what have you. It is very hard to incorporate that second option, or it has been over the years. There's companies who pull it off, and there's knives that pull it off, and more so here in 2025. But a lot of times you'd get fairly good action off the studs or cutout, and then the rear flipper or front flipper would be very lackadaisical. Well, with the Griffin series here, not a single deployment method feels looked over. From the rear flipper being insanely snappy to the cutout just being a joy on both sides, whether you're thumb flicking or reverse flicking. And the front flipper is executed very nicely. Now, the full-size Griffin has even better execution on the deployments and design. Now, the mini Griffin, I prefer the rear flipper on this to the design of the Griffin, where this one's a little bit more minimal, but I don't really care about that. It still works perfectly. So it's not something to complain about per se. You can get a little bit more meat on the mini Griffin, but the front flipper is head and shoulders above the mini, which the mini is done very well. But the full-size Griffin, really nice design on that front flipper. So I really like both. They work very nicely no matter what front flipper things your little heart desires. You'll be able to pull it off with either one of these knives, any one of these knives. And as a matter of fact, I would say as far as multi-deploying options go, this is easily one of the best that nails all the deployments. Nothing feels looked over. Very impressive from Ketuo, and that is every single one of these knives. What's really cool is we are going to be giving away a Griffin or mini Griffin, or maybe both, to a lucky member or two here in the coming future. So that'll be something certainly to look forward to. we're going to move into a hardware check here. Now we know we have a flathead here and here. I think we're going to be looking at T8 on the pocket clip and filler tab, which is really nice. And as I said, a smaller flathead will fit right in there and open this up. You'll have to let me know if this backspacer pops out of here in some form or fashion. Like I said, there are several Ketuo and Reich knives where the backspacer pops out, but I am not familiar with how or if this one does pop out of here. We're going to roll into a lock check here and bring out the old spine whacker. Now, every single one of the knives on the table, with the exception of these two, have been tested. All the knives get tested. I have no fear about either one of these mini Griffins. We have had excellent quality control from Ketuo and Reich since I have checked out any of their knives. Since I started checking their knives out, they have had a great quality control. Let's go ahead. We'll start out with a couple of light taps on this DLC version. We'll close it and check it. And we'll go to a little triple tap there. There's no movement in there whatsoever. And a couple of harder taps there. Very good. Exactly what we want to see. And we'll move over to the hand satin here. No movement on this guy either. Couple of lighter controlled taps there. Close it and check it. And a couple of harder triple taps there. Very good. Very, very good. Exactly what we want to see. We'll run these through a couple of checks. Make sure everything is functioning as it should. Centering is still on point. Detent still feels immaculate. Closing action, nice and smooth. And that's only going to get better and better as these break in. We'll go to the DLC one here. You can see there's like a slight bit of hesitation. It's either just a touch too tight or it just needs a little bit of break-in. I'm going to guess it just needs a little bit of break-in because with the other Griffins on the table, you can see this thing just falls shut once it is broken in. It's got beautiful action. All three of these have been carried for quite an extended period as far as these two go. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. You'll have to let me know. Which one of these do you like the most? Is it the mini Griffin in its premium form? Do you like the full-size Griffin in its premium form? Or do you like the G10 variant with 14C and all those accoutrements? I look forward to hearing from you. Hit that thumbs up button. Truly appreciate it. If you want to continue to see daily knife and EDC content, make sure you're subscribed. I'll pop up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.